Krishna parigrahe satam Mahabhagavatam vrajantam Kaurava rishabha Vishrambad abhyadattedam Mukhyam Krishna parigrahe satam Mahabhagavatam vrajantam Kaurava rishabha Vishrambad abhyadattedam Mukhyam Krishna parigrahe. Tam unto Uddhava, Mahabhagavatam, the great devotee of the Lord, Vrajantam, while going, Kauravarshabha, the best among the Kauravas, Vishrambat, out of confidence, Abhyadatta, submitted, Idam, this, Mukhyam, unto the chief, Krishna, Lord Krishna, Parigrahe, in devotional service to the Lord. Translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. While Uddhava, the chief and most confidential among the devotees of the Lord, was going away, Vidura, in affection and confidence, questioned him. Please repeat the translation. While Uddhava, the chief and most confidential amongst the devotees of the Lord, was going away, Vidura, in affection and confidence, questioned him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Vidura was much older than Uddhava. By family relationship, Uddhava was a contemporary brother of Krishna's, while Vidura was as elderly as Krishna's father Vasudeva. But although junior by age, Uddhava was much advanced in the devotional service of the Lord, and therefore he is described herein as the chief amongst the devotees of the Lord. Vidura was confident about this, and thus he addressed Uddhava in that higher category. That is a way of courteous dealings between two devotees. Then I'll read myself. Vidura vacha jnanam paramasvatma raha prakasham yadaha yogeshwara ishwaraste vaktum bhavano arhati yadhi vishnor bhrutya svabhrutyartha kritascharanti. Translation. Vidura said, O Uddhava, because the servants of Vishnu, the Lord, wander in the interest of serving others, it is quite fit that you kindly describe the self-knowledge with which you have been enlightened by the Lord Himself. Purport. The servants of the Lord are actually the servants of society. They have no interest in human society other than to enlighten it in transcendental knowledge. They are interested in imparting knowledge of the relationship of the living being with the Supreme Lord, the activities in that transcendental relationship, and the ultimate goal of human life. That is the real knowledge with which can help society achieve the real aim of human welfare. Knowledge in the matter of the bodily necessities of eating, sleeping, mating, and fearing, transformed into various branches of advancement of knowledge, is all temporary. A living being is not the material body but an eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Being, and thus revival of his self-knowledge is essential. Without this knowledge, the human life is baffled. The servants of the Lord Vishnu are entrusted with the responsible work, so they wander over the earth to all the other planets in the universe. Thus, the knowledge which was received by Uddhava directly from the Lord deserves to be distributed in human society, especially to persons like Vidura, who are highly advanced in the devotional service of the Lord. Real transcendental knowledge descends in the disciplic succession from the Lord to Uddhava, from Uddhava to Vidura, and so on. Such supreme transcendental knowledge is not possible to achieve by the process of imperfect speculation as performed by the so-called learned mundane wranglers. Vidura was anxious to know from Uddhava that confidential knowledge known as Paramam Sthitim, in which the Lord is known by his transcendental pastimes. Although Vidura was older than Uddhava, he was anxious to become a servant of Uddhava in the transcendental relationship. This formula of transcendental disciplic succession is taught by Lord Chaitanya also. Lord Chaitanya advises that one receive transcendental knowledge from anyone, whether a Brahmana or a Shudra, a householder or a sannyasi, provided that person is factually conversant with the science of Krishna. A person who knows the science of Krishna is factually a bona fide spiritual master. Doesn't the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here Vidura wanted to understand from Uddhava directly all the instructions that he had received personally from the Lord. So that's what the prospect has been proposed here. Satam Maha Bhagavatam, Vidura understanding Uddhava as Maha Bhagavataha. Vrajantam Kaurava Rishabhaha, he is going away. Vrajantam, where is he going away? Towards Badrikashrama. Vishrambad Abhyadattedam, out of confidence he submitted a request, idam, like this, with this word. Mukyam Krishna Parigrahe, because he is the most confidential and chief devotee of Lord Krishna. Mukyam is the main person as a chief. Krishna Parigrahe, in the confidential associates of the Lord of Lord Krishna, he is the most confidential, he is the very intimate and very confidential devotee of the Lord. So in this verse it demonstrates the courteous dealings between two devotees. So age is not the criteria. Advancement in devotion service is the criteria. Vidura's confidence about Uddhava's position, he considered him as chief of all devotees because he was advanced in devotion service, although junior in age. So age is never taken into consideration. The knowledge, the realization is taken more into consideration here. Then further, Vidura was asking the question, Jnanam Param Swa Atma Raha Prakasham. He wanted to understand that knowledge which is the self-enlightening. Swa Atma Raha, that self-knowledge. Yadaha Yogeshwara Ishwaraste, which was personally spoken by the Supreme Lord unto Uddhava. Vaktam Bhavan no Arhati Yaddi Vishnur. So kindly describe that self-knowledge which is Param Jnanam. Bhrutyaha Swabhrutyartha Kritas Charanti, because the servants of the Lord wander everywhere to enlighten others. This is their general duty, to enlighten other people in general of the knowledge what they had received from the Lord. So with that mood, please update me or please enlighten me what you have received the knowledge from the Supreme Lord directly. So in the purport also here Prabhupada is explaining, the servants of the Lord are actually servants of the society. So what mood they are servants of the society? Because they are interested in imparting the knowledge to achieve the goal of human life. To make the human life more purposeful, not just ahara nidra bhayamaitanam cha, but about Atma Tattva, to preach people in general this philosophy of Atma Tattva. That's why they are all unpaid servants of the society. So knowledge which was received by Uddhava directly from the Lord deserves to be distributed in human society, especially to persons like Vidura. So because the highest knowledge, and very few people will be there to show interest towards this knowledge. Not everybody will be inclined to understand this knowledge. So when the person is inclined, it is better to update him of that knowledge, what is the most confidential subject here. And Vidura was anxious to know from Uddhava that confidential knowledge known as Paramam Sthitim, in which the Lord is known by his transcendental pastimes. So this Paramam Sthitim is that direct knowledge which was spoken by Lord himself as that Chatushloki Bhagavatam. That is what is referred earlier. So Vidura wanted to hear that knowledge which Lord spoke to him in confidence and in most detailed version. That is Uddhava Gita. Inquire from anyone who is a devotee irrespective of age. Vidura inquires from Uddhava who is younger. So age is not the criteria for determining whether a person is knowledgeable or not. So that realization is the criteria. So for that we see an example in which in Bhagavatam, when Parikshit Maharaj was on the fasting, he had quit his kingdom, he got to know that he is about to die in 7 days. He came and sat on the bank of river Ganges and he is waiting for proper instruction. There were a group of assembly of sages. He had put forward his request, but all of them could not come to one common conclusion. Everybody were having different opinions. So accidentally at that time, Shukadeva Goswami walks into that arena. So when he walks into that arena, there were many people who are advanced in age, who are advanced in knowledge, who are advanced in understanding also. But everyone got up and gave him respect. He was much younger to all the people who had come there. So why did all of them get up and give respect to Shukadeva Goswami? Except one place in purport Prabhupada writes, except two people, everybody got up. One is Narada, one is Vyasa. Except these two people, everybody got up to show respect to Shukadeva Goswami. But in one lecture, Prabhupada says, even Vyasadeva got up because he knows his son is more advanced than him in realization. So to understand, age is not the criteria to ascertain whether a person is knowledgeable or not. His realization, his devotional attitude is the criteria. So Shukadeva Goswami is a much elevated personality. That entire Srimad Bhagavatam he was able to explain to Parikshit Maharaj and make him liberated. Not only that, he was able to make entire assembly into understand that actually what that Bhagavatam is. In a most systematic way he had presented Bhagavatam. Understanding the pulse of the audience to enlighten them according to the circumstances. He has given them appropriate quotations. Not that he had directly, like every time when he was asked a question, he used to present it from previous discussion. Means he is not speculating anything. He is presenting in the parampara system. So in that way, Shukadeva Goswami entreated everyone. And he gave confidence in Parikshit Maharaj how to handle the situation. The first thing what he said was, Parikshit Maharaj was fearing 7 days is too short a time for me. That to focus upon the Lord, 7 days will be too short for me. So Shukadeva Goswami said, he gave example of Katvanga Maharaj. He said, Katvanga Maharaj got a short notice. You at least got 7 days. Katvanga Maharaj was only given 48 minutes, one muhurta time. And he had utilized that one muhurta by focusing upon the personality of Godhead and went back home, back to Godhead. Where is 48 minutes and where is 7 days? 7 days is a too bigger time for you. Don't worry. So see, making the disciple first fearless. Then you give him the proper knowledge what is required. Because when he is fearful, you will not be able to focus on what is being communicated. Like when we are hungry, can we hear philosophy? We will not be able to focus on philosophy. So when we are peaceful, the philosophy will make some impact on our consciousness. So when somebody is fearful in life, philosophy will not be able to make impact on his consciousness. So first he has to be pacified. So pacify and make him comfortable, then make him feel, yes, he is connected with the subject. So Parikshit Maharaj was feeling that 7 days was inconvenient, but Shukadeva Goswami made him feel that 7 days passed away in such a short span as if he felt today they sat and by evening it finished. That was the experience, that was the enchanting experience. He did not feel hunger, he did not feel thirst, he did not feel sleepy. or a half an hour to sit in Bhagavatam class, we feel sleepy. And Parikshit Maharaj, he was hearing full philosophy. And at least we have stories to communicate here and there. And he is only hearing philosophy in Sanskrit. But he never felt any deviation from the subject. He appreciates that the association of Vaishnava is so great, of Shukadeva Goswami category, that he lost taste for hunger, thirst, sleep, everything and all. Because Krishna-katha was so enchanting. He would like to hear more. Always, always he was inquisitive to learn more. Every incident he wanted to know perfectly. Why this pastime happened, why that pastime happened, why Krishna acted here like this, why devotees acted there like that. He was always asking questions. So with that inquisitiveness, he was able to bring out the entire Bhagavatam for all of us. So that after 5,000 years, we will be able to release this Bhagavatam, because this Bhagavatam is the torchlight for Kali Yuga. For people of general of Kali Yuga. And Krishna's intention of Parikshit Maharaj going through this process is that Bhagavatam comes out for all of us. It is a replacement to Lord Krishna in this Kali Yuga, so that people can take shelter of Bhagavatam and go back home, back to Godhead. So the nature of devotees is that they simply travel everywhere. For what purpose? To enlighten others. So Yudhishthira Maharaj glorifies Bhavat-vida Bhagavatas Tirtha Bhuta Swayambhu Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swantastena Gadabrataha. Bhavat-vida Bhagavatas. Bhavat-vidaha, great devotees like you, who are Maha Bhagavatas. Tirtha Bhuta Swayambhu. You are already personification of holy places. Tirtha Bhuta Swayam. You are Swayam. You are like great personalities. Vibho. All competent, all potent personalities you are. Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani. You go not to get purified, but you go to purify the sacred places. We all go to Ganga, Yamuna to take bath and purify ourselves. But you go to purify that contamination which was left by people in general in that places. So you are a potent person. How you have become potent person? Swa antastena gadabrataha. Because in your heart you always carry the Supreme Lord Gadabrataha. That's why you are so potent that you can purify a place also. So that is the potency of pure devotees. That is the difference between a pure devotee visiting a Tirtha Kshetra and a common man visiting Tirtha Kshetra. And one more place in the Uddhava Gita only, Krishna also says, Tato dussanga musrijya satsu sajjeta buddhiman santa evasya chindanti mano vyasangda muktibhihi. So when you associate with that category of person, what happens when you hear from them? Tato dussanga musrijya. So one will quit unwanted association. Then satsu sajjeta buddhiman, an intelligent person will pick up good association. Then santa evasya chindanti. So when you hear from the lectures from them, santa evasya chindanti, devotees, all the unwanted things which are accumulated in the heart are cut. Chindanti means cut. Mano vyasangam uktibihi. The attachment will be at two levels. One is at the heart level, one is at the mind level. So by their words, they destroy both these knots. Mano vyasangam uktibihi. By their lectures, by their explanations, they are able to cut down all the unwanted things which will bind the jiva in this material world. That is the speciality of devotees. When they talk, even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, one who preaches these glories are very dear to me. Nachatasman manusheshu kashin me priyakrittamaha. There is no one as dear to me as those who preach my glories anywhere and everywhere. They take the risk. Even though when Krishna is saying, don't preach to 4 categories of people. Open 18.67. Krishna is saying, these 4 categories of people, don't preach. Who are the 4 categories of people? Those who are envious, those who are not devotees, those who are never austere. One more. That is enviousness. So not engaged in devotional service. For these 4 categories of people, don't preach, Krishna is saying. But devotees, out of compassion, they go and preach everywhere. Because they take all risk in preaching the glories of the Lord, Krishna is saying, there is nobody as dear to me as that devotees who have risked their own lives for preaching my glories. So that is the nature of devotees. They want to give this opportunity for everyone and anyone. And in the purport also Prabhupada is explaining, they explain about 3 subjects. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. Sambandha, what is Jiva? Who is Lord? What is his relationship with the Lord and the living entity? Then, if you know the relationship, how to act in that relationship? Then, once you know the relationship, once you act in that relationship, how to achieve the ultimate goal of life? What should be your aim in life? To go back home, back to Godhead. So, with that perspective, all these 3 subjects are covered. And any Vedic philosophy covers up these 3 subjects. Even the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, we say, the first sloka Sambandha, next sloka is Abhideya, then last sloka is Prayojana. Any perspective, Vedanta Sutra, any Vedic literature, everything is directed in these 3 perspectives only. So similarly, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, he wanted to go to South India. So this message was communicated to Pratap Rudra. So Ramanand Rai and Pratap Rudra, they were discussing. Not Ramanand Rai, one more devotee was discussing with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why did he go to South India? What was his need? Because he is Supreme Lord. So what is his purpose in going to South India? He is saying, I will go to South India, I will visit all the Tirtha Kshetras and I will purify myself. He gives a reason. But actually, what was his intention? Dakshina Gamana Prabhu Ati Vilakshana Sahasra Sahasra Tirtha Kaila Darshana. So there is very unique thing, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's visit to South India. So he had visited many holy places across the entire South Indian path. Sei Sabha Tirtha Sparshi Maha Tirtha Kaila. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu touched them, they all became even more glorious, pious places. Sei Chale Sei Deshara Loka Nistarila. With the context of going and purifying himself, he went there and he delivered all the people in that area. Purvavat pate yaite ye paya darshana ye gramayaya se gramera yata jana sabai Vaishnava haya kahe Krishna Hari anya grama nistaraye sei Vaishnava kare. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was walking on the path, whoever saw him, they became devotees. Just by seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these people were chanting the holy name. When they went back to their villages, when other people saw them, they became devotees. So when those people went to their villages, when their people saw them, they became devotees. See, just by seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 3 levels of people were becoming devotees. It is not something uncommon. But that is the speciality, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, just by visualizing a Vaishnava, how one can, how devotional service within one can be awakened. So in this way, very few people got opportunity to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but others were also given opportunity by becoming devotees. Not just the person who saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were all empowered in such a way that others also could be able to, whom had seen Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they inspired. Dakshina Deshera Loka Aneka Prakara, Keha Jnani, Keha Karmi, Pashandi Apara. So the people of South India were of various categories. Keha Jnani, many were intellectuals, Jnanis. Keha Karmis, many were in the Karmakanda system. Pashandi Apara, but many people were atheistic category. Sei Sabha Loka Prabhura Darshana Prabhave Nija Nija Matachadi Hoila Vaishnave. So all of them, even though of various philosophies and subjects, all of them left their perspectives and left their philosophies and became Vaishnavas by having darshan of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vaishnavera ye hoya eka swabhava nischala. This is that one unique thing of a Vaishnava. Tenho jiva nahena hana swatantra Ishvara. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not a living entity, but he is the Supreme Lord himself. So he is fully independent, Swatantra Ishvara, yet in a position as a devotee, he carried out the activities like a common devotee. He is a Supreme Lord, but he acted like a devotee. Raja kahe, Jagannath chadi, kena gela. So Raja asked him, Are, you are already in Jagannath Puri, the most pious place. Then why did he give up Jagannath Puri and go elsewhere? Bhatta kahe, Mahan tera eka leela. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, this is one unique quality of Mahantas. Tirtha pavitra karite kare tirtha brahmana seichale nistaraya samsarika jana. Just to visit Tirtha Yatra places and purify oneself is the reason what I had given. Actually, he had gone to deliver the people who are engrossed in this material world. This is the nature of devotees. They go everywhere, they inspire people, they make them devotees, they make them, they evoke devotion within all of them, they encourage them and they make them more perfect in the process. That is the nature of a Vaishnava. So similarly, there was one more context when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Puri, there was one devotee by name Pradyumna Mishra. So, and like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to be an expansion in Pradyumna's body also. Once in a while, people used to go and meet Chaitanya. Those who could not meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when they met Pradyumna Mishra, they used to feel, yes, he is an energy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when he had come to Jagannath Puri, he wanted to understand about Krishna-katha from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? How did he encourage him to hear Krishna-katha? And why did he do all this perspective will be explained in the last. Ekadina Pradyumna Mishra Prabhura Charane Dandavat Kari Kichu Kari Nivedane. So he offered obeisances and requested at the feet of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Suna Prabhu Muni Dina Grahastha Adama. I am an insignificant Grahastha, Adama, very low personality. Kona Bhagye Panachol Tomara Durlabha Charna. By some unfortunate or from some good fortune, I have attained shelter at your lotus feet. Krishna-katha sunibare mora ichcha hoya. I wanted to hear about Krishna-katha. There is just one small desire within me. Krishna-katha kaha mora hana sadaya. So being compassionate, please explain to me that Krishna-katha. Prabhu kahena Krishna-katha ami nahi jane. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I don't know Krishna-katha. And he is Krishna himself in the form of a devotee and he is saying, I don't know Krishna-katha. Ramananda Pashayai Karaha Shravana. Sorry. Tabe Ramananda Jhane Tandra Mukhe Suni. So I am not an authority on Krishna-katha. I don't know anything about Krishna-katha. Go to Ramananda Raya. He is the authority on Krishna-katha. Bhagya Tomara Krishna-katha Sunita Hoyamana. You are fortunate that you had a desire to hear about Krishna-katha. Not everybody are interested to hear Krishna-katha. Ramananda Pashayai Karaha Shravana. Go to Ramananda Raya and discuss with him and hear from him what is Krishna-katha. Krishna-katha Ruchi Tomara Bhada Bhagyavan. Because you have developed a taste for Krishna-katha, you are most fortunate person. Yara Krishna-katha Ruchi, say Bhagyavan. Anyone who has developed little taste for hearing Krishna-katha, he is the most fortunate person in this world. Tabe Pradyumna Mishra Gela Ramananda Rastane. So on the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went to Ramananda Raya's house. Rayera Sevakata andre Vasaila Asane. So the servant made him sit on the asana and he inquired from him. Darshananapana Mishrera Sevaka Pushila. So since he could not meet Ramananda Raya, he had asked from the servant. Rayera Vrittanta Sevaka Kahite Lagila. Then he had explained how Ramananda Raya is busy. Dui Devakanya Hoya Parama Sundari. Actually, at that time, there was one drama being to be enacted. It was known as Jagannatha Vallabha Nataka. So, Ramananda Raya had composed the drama. So, he wanted the Devadasis to learn to exhibit the mood of the drama. Like he is directing the two young girls. Dui Devakanya Hoya Parama Sundari. There were two Devadasis who are exquisitely beautiful. Nrutya Gita Sunipuna Vayashe Kishori. They are all very young and they are very expert in dancing and singing. Se Dunha Lana Raya Nibrute Vidyane Nija Nataka Gitera Shikaya Nartane. So he took them to a solitary place and he is explaining to them the mood and understanding of the Nataka. Because each word, unless you know what the expression you have to give, you will not be able to justify the meaning when you are trying to enact that words. So he is trying to elaborate them and explain to them what are the technicalities of each Sanskrit word and how it has to be enacted, what the facial expression should be. If the word is saying angry and if you are laughing, it doesn't make a sense. Or if the word is a very serious word and you are making a fun out of it, or if the word is very comedy, you are making a serious action out of it, doesn't They are all misfits. So he is trying to communicate to them the exact intention which has to be displayed on the face when you are enacting that drama. Tumi ihan vashi raha kshaneka asibane tabe ye ajnadeha se karibane. So please be seated here. Very soon he will be coming. So then you can order him and he will be able to fulfill whatever your desire is. Tabe pradyumnam risha tahan rahila vasiya Ramananda nibrute sei dui jana lana. So Ramananda Raya was in the garden. So but he is sitting there and waiting when will Ramananda Raya come. Swahaste karena tara abhyanga mardana. So with his hands personally he was massaging them. Abhyanga mardana. Swahaste karana snana gatra sammarjana. So with his own hands he was bathing them and he was decorating them. Swahaste parana vastra sarvanga mandana. Tabu nirvikara raya Ramanandera mana. Even though he was touching them and he was dressing them, he was never disturbed in his mind and consciousness when he is interacting with such young, beautiful girls. Kasta pashana sparshe hoya eiche bhava. As if he was touching like a stone or a wood, he was feeling, even though when he was touching young, beautiful woman. Tarini sparshe Ramanandera taiche swabhava. His swabhava was, even though he was in the interaction of the young, beautiful woman, he was as if feeling he is dressing some wooden doll or something like that. His body had shown no emotions. Sevya bhavi aropiya karena sevana swabhavika dasi bhava karena aropana. He considered himself as a maid servant of all the gopis. So in that way he was thinking that he is serving the gopis. Even though he is in a male form, his constitutional position is like he is like servant of Srimati Radharani. So in that way he was thinking he is serving the gopis. He was never thinking I am a male and they are female. He is thinking I am a female and I am decorating another females for the service and pleasure of Lord Jagannatha. They are gopis and gopis have to be decorated for the pleasure of Lord Jagannatha. That was the mood. Mishrera Agamana Raya Sevaka Kahila. After some time, the Sevaka servant went and informed that Pradyumna Mishra had come to meet him. Sigra Ramananda Tabe Sabate Aila. So immediately he came to report to Pradyumna. Mishrera Namaskara Kare Sammana Kariya. With respect, he offered him respect and offered him obeisances. Nivedana Kare Kichu Vinta Hona. Then with great humility he spoke as follows. Bahukshana Aila Mora Kehanaha Kahila. I think you have come long time. You have been waiting for me. Nobody had updated me. Tomara Charane Mora Aparada Hoila. So please forgive me. I had done an offense by not coming to you as soon as you have come here. Tomara Agamane Mora Pavitra Hoila Gara. So since you have come, my house has become purified. Ajna Kara Kya Karun Tomara Kinkara. I am your servant. Please instruct me what I should do. Mishra Kahe Toma Dekite Hoila Agamana. So I just wanted to see you. That's why I had come here. Apana Pavitra Kailun Tomara Darshana. So I have come here to purify myself by having your Darshana. Atikala Deki Mishra Kichuna Kahila. Since it was already late, he did not say anything. Vidaya Hoya Mishra Nijagara Gela. So he took leave and went away to his own home. Aradina Mishra Aila Prabhu Vidyamane. So next day, in the assembly of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Pradyumna had come there. Prabhu Kahe Krishna-katha Sunila Rayastane. Have you heard Krishna-katha from Ramananda Raya? Tabe Mishra Ramanandera Vrittanta Kahila. So he explained to him what Ramananda was doing when he went to the house. Suni Mahaprabhu Tabe Kahite Lagila. After hearing that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorified Ramananda Raya's position. Amita Sannyasi Apanara Virakta Karimani. I am a sannyasi and I think I am a renounced personality. Darshan Rahu Dure Prakritira Nama Yadi Suni. Even Darshana, even women don't come near me. Even I don't hear the name of a woman. Tabihun Vikarapaya Mora Tanumana. If I hear a name of a woman, my body and my mind becomes transformed as soon as I hear a name of a woman. Prakriti Darshana Stira Hoya Konjana. So then by seeing a beautiful woman, who can be more regulated in himself? Who can more control himself? Which person is having that capacity to self-regulate himself by being in the proximity of women? Ramananda Raya Katha Shuna Sarvajana. He is explaining, please hear all of you about the glories of Ramananda Raya. Kahibara Kata Nahe Yaha Ashcharya Katana. This is the most wonderful thing. and which is very rare that one should speak about this subject. Eke Devadasi Ara Sundari Taruni. One thing is they are Devadasi and they are most beautiful women. Tarasaba Angaseva Karena Apani, and he personally decorates them with his own hands. Snanadi Karaya Paraya Vasa Vibhushana, he gets them bathed and he dresses them and he puts abharanas onto them. Guhya Angera Hoyataha Darshana Sparshana. The private parts he will be having darshana by touching all these things, because when he is dressing and bathing them, he will be able to have darshana and sparshana of the guhya anga, private parts. Tabu nirvikara raya Ramanandera mana, his mind was never carried away. Nana bhavudvagara tara karaya sikshana. So he was explaining to them all the transformation of ecstasy. Nana bhava udvega. Nirvikara dehamana kasta pashana sama ashcharya tarani sparse nirvikara mana. Even though he is in touch with the woman, his mind was never disturbed. So that is the capacity. He is almost like, it is like a doll he was feeling. Eka Ramanandera hoya e adhikara. Only Ramanandraya is capable person. Tate jnani aprakrata deha danhara. Please understand, his body is not material. He is a spiritual personality. That's why he is not transformed in his consciousness. Tanhara manera bhava tenha jane matra taha jani bara ara dvitiya nahi para. So he alone and no one else can understand the position of his mind. Kintu shastra drushe ekakari anumana say Bhagavata shastra tahate pramana. But I can make one guess in the direction from shastra as per Srimad Bhagavatam is a direct evidence. Vrajavadu sange krishnera rasadi vilasa yei jana kahe sune kariya vishwasa. Hrudroga kamatanra tatkale hoyakshaya tina guna kshobanahe mahadira hoya. So if you hear Krishna's pastimes, intimate pastimes with the gopis, actually all the unwanted things within the heart will become cleansed. All the lusty, thoughtful propensities when we hear Krishna's pastimes with the gopis are automatically cleansed off. A person becomes sober and silent, and the agitation caused by three modes are immediately nullified when you hear Krishna's pastimes with gopis. Raganuka marge jani rayera bhajana siddha deha tulya tate prakruta nahe mana. So he is already in the spontaneous loving devotional service. Do not consider his body as material. He is an advanced personality. Ami ha rayera sthane suni Krishna-katha. Even I hear Krishna-katha from Ramanandaraya. Sunite ichcha hoya yedi punah yaha tata. So if you want to hear about Krishna-katha, go to his house. Hear from him only. Moranama laiya teho pataila. So please go and inform him that I have sent him. Tomara sthane Krishna-katha suni bare tate. So to hear Krishna-katha, I have sent him to your place. Please inform him. Sigra yaha yavat tenho achena sabate. So immediately go, when he is in the assembly itself, you go there. Eta suni pradyumna mishra chalita turite. So immediately he went to the place. Raya Pashakela, Raya Pranati Karila, again Ramanandaraya offered him respects. Ajjakara Yeilagi Agamana Hoila. Please inform me what is my duty, you have come here. Mishra Kahe, Mahaprabhu Pataila More, Tomarastane, Krishna-katha Sunibare. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had sent me here to understand Krishna-katha from you. Please explain to me. Suni Ramanandaraya Hoila Premavesha. So he became ecstatic when he heard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had sent him. Kahite Lagila Kichu Manera Harishe. So he started speaking, becoming very happy, joyful in his mind. Prabhura Ajnaya Krishna-katha Sunite Aila Yeta. So on the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have come here to hear Krishna-katha. Ihavai Mahabhagya Ami Paba Kota. So who can be? How else could I get that more opportunity? This is my great fortune. Eta Kahi Taralana Nibrute Vasila. They went to a secluded place. Ki Katha Sunite Chahe Mishra Puchila. Which aspect you want to hear in Krishna-katha? Teneho Kahe. Then Mishra Kahe. Ye Kahila Vidyanagare Se Katha Krame Tumi Kahiba Amare. So what both of you are discussed in Rajamandri, same, please explain to me the same subject. Anera ki katha tumi prabhura upadeshta amita bhikshuka vipra tumi mora posta. So you are an instructor to even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what to speak of others. I am but a beggar brahmana, bhikshuka. Tumi mora posta, you are my maintainer. Balabanda kichu ami puchite na jane. I don't know which is better and which has to be heard. Deena deki krupakari kahiba apani. So seeing my situation, you explain to me what is good for me. Tabe Ramananda krame kahite lagila Krishna-katha rasamrita sindhu uthaila. So in a systematic way he started explaining. Then they started becoming ecstatic as they started hearing about Krishna-katha. Apane prashna kari pache karena siddhanta. He himself was putting question and he was explaining the siddhanta. Tritiya prahara hoila nahe katha anta. It became evening and still there was no end to the discussion. Vakta shrota kahe sune dunhe prema veshe atmasmriti nahe kahan janiba dinasheshe. So both of them were, he is explaining and they were listening, and both of them forgot actual time. And finally it was in the evening and nobody was conscious what time it was. Sevaka kahila dina hoila avasana. Then servant came and explained to him, sir, it is already evening, time has passed away. Tabe raya Krishna-kathara karila vishrama. Then he gave a gap. Bahu sammana kari mishra vidaya dila. Then he gave much respect and sent Pradyumna Mishra. Krutartha hailana boli Mishra nachite lagila. He started dancing, thinking himself as most fortunate. Gare giya Mishra kaila snana bhojana. He went home, took bath and ate some prasadam. Sandhya kale dekita aila Prabhura charana. So he came to offer respects to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhura charana vande ullasita mana. With joyful mind he paid obeisances. Prabhu kahe Krishna-katha hoila shravane. Have you heard Krishna-katha? Mishra kahe Prabhu mora krutartha karila. Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have made my life successful. Krishna-katha mrita arnave mora dhubaila. In this ocean of Krishna-katha, you made me drown. Ramananda Raya katha kahile na haya, manushya na he raya, Krishna bhakti rasamaya. So I cannot properly describe the discourses of Ramananda Raya, for he is not an ordinary human being. He is fully absorbed in devotional mood of the Lord. So why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inspire Pradyumna Mishra to go to Ramananda Raya? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself and he is a sannyasi, and it is a duty of a sannyasi to preach. But he had sent him to Grahastha and he had sent him to a Shudra, and Pradyumna Mishra is a born Brahmana. So to teach all of us, Krishna-katha is not limited to a birthright. It is to persons who are advanced in knowledge. He wanted to teach. He wanted to remove the ahankara of being born in a Brahmana. You have to go and listen from person who say, what is that sloka in Chaitanya Charitamrita? Say Guru hoya. Kiba vipra kiba nasha shudra kena noy. Ei Krishna tattvaveta say Guru hoy. So who is a Guru? He is not a Brahmana, Kshatriya, or he is not a sannyasi or anything. One who knows Krishna-katha, the truth of Krishna-katha, he is an acharya. So to prove that to the whole world, the devotee, irrespective of his birthright, is more qualified. Lord was setting an example. So in the same way now Vidura, when he wanted to ask from Uddhava, he will direct him towards Maitreya. So why did he direct him? And all these things we will hear in the next verse. I'll stop here. Any questions or doubts? Okay, Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanand.
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణవాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి 913310